Entra ID journey. As you know, we have completed user section and group section over there. Today we need to move forward with external identities. So under external identities, I have two tenants. So always we will require a two tenant for test also, for demo purposes also, and for other like if you want to invite your users or if you want to give access to a different tenant. So you can see this tenant I have Entra ID P2 license, and if I go back to another tenant in this I have Entra ID free license. So both are different. You can compare with the help of the ID itself also. Okay, so here under external identities we will move, and here you can be able to find the detailed view of how you can be able to set up, or you will be able to collaborate. How can you can be able to invite the external user, how you can be able to set up your identity providers, how those users, the guest user, maybe use the self-service sign up portal so they can be able to auto register in your tenant. What are the restrictions that we can apply for our invitation of the external users, how you can be able to protect your application and brand, and how you can manage your provisioning and access. So all these kind of things you can be able to manage from our external identities. Moving forward, we will go to cross-tenant access setting. So this is the first step from where we need to add our organization. Our organization means the particular organization from where you want to invite the users, or from where you need to send the user. Both need to add the organization over there. Okay. After that, these are the default setting. Inbound setting means if you need to welcome the user, means if any user is coming, if user is syncing towards your tenant, then those are the inbound setting. Outbound setting means if any user is going out from your tenant, means you are sharing your users to another tenant. Okay, we have two tenants A and B. So users are coming out from A tenant and going inside the B tenant. So B tenant need to set up inbound settings. Okay, as the user is going inside the tenant, and A tenant need to set up outbound as the user is going out from that B tenant. Okay, and these are the tenant restrictions that you can be able to set it up. So these are the default settings. When we configure the organization, there also we will find those inbound and outbound setting. We will go and configure those. Okay. At last, we have Microsoft Cloud settings, which says if it is an Azure Government Cloud or the China Cloud. For that, these are required. For normal cloud, it is not been required. If we are going to collaborate with Azure Government Cloud or the China Cloud that we have, the China Cloud has been handled by 21 YNet. Okay. Or if it for a cross tenant also, if you are using government tenant, then you need to set up these things. Otherwise, for normal tenant, you does not need to. Okay, so now we will add the organization. To adding the organization, you will be required a domain name or the tenant ID. So this is my another tenant. I will just paste my tenant ID here. From that, we can be able to find the tenant ID and the name of the particular tenant, and we will click on add. So here is one check also. What is that? If you want to check, if you want that, if you forgot a domain ID or the tenant ID. If you forgot a tenant ID and you have the domain name, like you will just check with google.com. If Google has the tenant, yes, Google has the tenant. You can see I have entered google.com and it says this is the tenant ID of google.com. Same we will search for microsoft.com, enter. If Microsoft has any, no, Microsoft doesn't have any tenant, or if it has been there, then we are not able to see it on microsoft.com. Unable to fetch the tenant. Okay, so like with those things you can be able to search. If you want, you can be able to enter the tenant ID here. Hit enter, you can see this comes. Okay, so this is the way you can be able to search that particular domain and you can get the tenant ID from there. And parallelly, you can just search this also, and That will help you to identify where your domain is registered also. Like if you are searching with the domain, you will get a tenant ID. On that particular tenant, your domain has been registered. Okay, so this is the simple way you can be able to find that. Moving forward, you can see here we got the inbound access, here we got the outbound access, then we get the tenant restriction by default. Okay, moving forward, we will just go to inbound access. So here in inbound access, like all the things will be by default. By default settings will be there. If you want to customize, go on the customize setting. On the customized things, you can be able to allow the access like external users and group. Whatever, if you want to allow the access, which users has been allowed. All contour users and groups means the tenant name will be there. So all tenant users and group or the selected tenant users all group. So if you want to select, you need to select and you need to provide the group of those users which are going to add or which we are going to give the access. Same for the application. If you want to allow access or if you want to block access based on your requirement, all application or selected application. If those are some Microsoft application, you need to give the name of those application parallelly. If those are other application, you need to give the name of those applications or groups. Okay, so like that you can be able to manage. Okay, after that we will go for direct connect. This is also the same. If you customize, you can be able to block the access for all context user. If you want to allow the access for all context user, always remember these both things for inbound and outbound should be same on both the end. If those are different, then it will be a conflict and you cannot be able to create the settings itself. Means you cannot be able to create the cross tenant. Okay, so this is the thing that you need to keep in mind. Okay, moving forward, we will move for trust settings. Trust setting basically is when user is coming from their devices or the MFA has been satisfied, what settings we needed. Trust setting is basically configured for the conditional access kind of things. So if you have conditional access for the hybrid joint devices, so MFA need to be trusted or MFA need to be trusted, the device compliance need to be trusted. What things we are trusting on the particular tenant from where the user is coming. Okay, if you want to go with default settings, then no problem. The default setting will be applied. Whatever default settings you have seen, that will be applied. If you want to customize trust MFA authentication from Microsoft Entra, that means that those users that MFA will be used will be the MFA applicable will be for the from the tenant B itself. The A tenant will not be check the MFA. Okay, if you are trusting the compliant device also, then that will be already compliant on the B tenant. For example, if the device is compliant on a tenant B, the A tenant will not be checked and it is being trusted from the B tenant. Same for the MFA, and the other thing is Microsoft Entra hybrid joint device. If the hybrid joint device is been that particular device has been joined to tenant B as a hybrid joint, then it will be trusted. Okay, we'll go with default settings. This need to be checked. Automatically redeem invitation with the tenant contour. So whenever the invitation comes for those users from that particular tenant, those will be accepted. Okay, means automatically accepted. We does not need to the user does not need to go and accept the invitation. This should be enabled so that the redemption will be automatically accepted. Okay, at last we have cross tenant sync option. Here, allow user to sync into this tenant. We are allowing those users to sync into this tenant. Means if this is not enabled, then the user will not be in sync from their tenant to our tenant. As this is we are under the inbound access setting, right? So users are coming from another tenant to this tenant, right? That's why we are getting this option here. If we will go and forward, we will go to the outbound settings. You can see in outbound setting we only have B2B collaboration, B2B direct connect, trust setting. This cross tenant sync will not be here. Okay, we will save this. Yes, and it has been saved. We need to move back. Here you can see this we have configured manually, right? So that's why it is coming as configured. This we have not configured, so you can see inherited from default. Okay, Now we need to configure the outbound also. You can see here we have only two options: B2B collaboration, B2B Direct Connect, and trust settings. And trust second, we need to enable the automatically redemption invitation from the tenant console. Okay, here you can see we doesn't have these three options also. That says we need to trust the MFA, we need to trust the device compliance, we need to trust the hybrid joint devices, right? As from the outbound access, users are going away, like users are going out from your tenant. So going out will not be an issue as we does not need to trust anything. We need to configure the same to our parallel uh, what we say is parallel tenant. So from there we can be able to manage that. Okay. So this has been done now. Now I will save this and we will move back to our previous tenant itself. I will just copy this and we will just move to our Contoso one. Here I will go to external identities. Then we will go to cross-tenant access setting. Organization. I will add the organization. I have created so many here as this is my previous tenant on which my Entra ID P2 has been expired. Okay, so we have added. Now you can see it should be inherited from default. So I will just go quickly. Here we are going by default as a default setting. Here I need to only enable this redemption and cross-tenant sync. Allow user to sync to the tenant itself. Okay, and same for the outbound cross-tenant setting also. I will just go to trust setting and okay, select the users and go to the tenant. Okay, so this is inherited from default and what will be the blocker setting here in that particular setting I cannot be able to manage those as my E5 my Entra ID premium configuration settings and target users groups and application setting I need Microsoft Premium P2 for the same I think. Don't know why this has been done. Here I get the option, but in the outbound, I'm not getting those options. Okay, let's try with the same. Okay. Uh, okay, done. So I will just go back here and we need to go to cross-tenant synchronization. Once you are here, you need to configure the same. Like those users will come, go to configure. Under configure, you need to create new configuration. You need to provide the configuration name, test intra lab. Set up auto synchronization. So for that you will require Microsoft Entra ID Suite or Microsoft Entra ID governance license to configure synchronization across multi-cloud. Okay, if you want, you can go ahead for a free trial also. I doesn't have that, so I will not set it up. Nowadays, Microsoft is evolving, so that is why we are getting those much of licensing cost and all. Okay, so once this has been set it up, we need to just go back and run that setting from here to there. We will sync our user IDs from here to our previous uh, tenant here only. Okay, so that need to be set up there. From where we need to send our users, missing our users. There we need to set it up. Okay, we will click on get started. It will be an automatic one. Here we need to give our tenant ID. So this is our tenant ID. It will test the connection. I think it should passed. You can see the tenant connection has been passed. Why? We have a proper setup, like we have set it up at default settings and we have allowed the redemption from both. Okay, the inbound has been allowed and here the outbound has been allowed. So you need to just save this. Once that has been saved, we need to start the provisioning. Okay, Like this has been saved. This is a kind of provisioning only that you are doing. Like cross-tenant sync is also a provisioning, but we are doing that provisioning via tenant to tenant provisioning, you can say. You can see the incremental cycle has been stored right now. Again, you need to go back to the provisioning and you need to, if you want to sync all the users, then you need to select here all the users. Or if you are syncing only assigned users and group, then you need to go here and assign the users and groups. Right now I will sync all the users and I will do the provisioning status as on and I will save it. So it will start doing provisioning and the users which are there will be synced towards our Entra ID, the second tenant that we have here, and you can be able to find the user over here itself. Currently I will show my user that is being here. You can see as Shivam. Then I will go back. I will just search my user Shivam Tiwari. This is my user, the first one. I will just copy the object ID of this user. Okay, so it will be easy for us to identify the same. And I will just go back to the cross-tenant synchronization configuration to check the status. Does it started or how many user is being synced? You can see here we are getting the status, tenant name, what is tenant ID, when it was created, it is enabled or disabled. We will just open this and we will get the update, means how many users is being synced. If it is not, then we need to check that provisioning. This is the provisioning on demand. I think you already knows. Like if any user or group is not syncing, like in the on-premises we are doing delta sync. So in provisioning we need to just enter the user principal name or mail or the particular name of that user, and we can just run the on-demand provisioning from here. This also we will see. First we need to go back and we need to check what is the current cycle and details. So if you are going to overview page, you can be able to see what is the name that we have given, the service principal object ID. Like this will create an enterprise application. We will go back and we will check that. What is the job ID? Majority when you are going to create a ticket towards Microsoft, they will ask you the job ID of that particular user. So why job ID is being asked? That this job ID is the key to find the provisioning, which application you are using or which provisioning application you are using. This is a kind of application name that is being there. Life cycle completed time, never. Okay, so what I will do, I will just restart this provisioning. Never. Okay, so what I will do, I will just restart this provisioning. Okay, so these are the things. This job ID will never be changed till the time you are not creating another application. This job ID will never be changed. So always remember this, you need to provide. This is the job ID. Previously it was there itself, but no worries. This is the job ID. This is the service principal ID, and cycle never runs. Okay. And the properties, email notification recipient. If I have, if like any of the error comes or the provisioning is being paused, or if we are getting any issue during provisioning, what will be the email on which it should be triggered a notification. If you want to add it, you need to provide here the email ID of that notification. Once it is been done, you will get an email over there. Preventing accidental deletion. For example, you have deleted multiple user. So how many users you can be able to delete? If you want to enable this, you can enable, you can provide like maximum 5 users should be deleted. After that, it should be blocked. The threshold should be expired. So if you have accidental deletion threshold is like previously it was 500. So after 500 users, my threshold will be stopped and I cannot be able to delete the users. I have done is 5. So after 5, I cannot be able to delete. If I am deleting bulkily like 10 users or 15 users, it will be blocked after 5 users. Okay. Skipped out scope deletion. Like if I have removed the users from the scope and that will be counted in the deletion? No, it will not be. Provisioning scope, all the users. Like what is the scope for this provisioning? All the users. Each and every user that is there in my tenant will be synced towards our second tenant that we have. So like this we can be able to find our all the details. Okay, provisioning cycle, it's now also it's saying it's not been started. It will take some time. As you have seen that normal cycle of the provisioning is 40 minutes. Here you can be able to find the audit logs of the cycle, account provisioning, updated update provisioning settings or credential that I have restarted the provisioning, right? So that's why we find here the updated provisioning and all. Okay. After that we have add provisioning configurations, core directory. These are, I have added the service principal, then I have created those configuration and also these are the audit logs. In the provisioning logs, you can be able to find how many users are provisioned. So right now we are running our cycle. So we doesn't have anything over here, but once the cycle has been completed, you can be able to find the uh, provisioning logs also. Which users has been synced, how many users has been not synced, and how many users has been are been pending. Apart from that, we doesn't have much things in cross-tenant. These all things we will be able to check in provisioning section when we are going forward for the provisioning, like provisioning to Entra ID users, how we can be able to configure the mappings. Like we have a mappings option for users. These are the mappings, attribute mappings for the users. If you want to add or if you want to remove or delete those particular mappings, you can be able to manage those mappings and all. Okay, so these are the settings. We will go and we will check that particular thing in our provisioning section. Here, if you want to restrict the provisioning for some of the specific users, like in our corporate environment, every user has not been working with multiple projects. Like some of the users will be there, so you can just assign those users to here, or you can add a group. You can create a group and add those users to this group so they can be able to sync towards our tenant itself. Okay, so like that you can be able to find over here and you can be able to check those users in the tenant where you are going to sync those users. Okay, here I am saying that. Okay, so in this tenant you doesn't require much action that need to be done. Everything need to be done on the tenant who is just sending their users toward the another tenant. Okay, so this is the way that you can be able to proceed with the cross tenant, and these are the details that you need to provide. We will just wait for 1 or 2 minutes to just complete this provisioning cycle, and once this has been there we will have more details on provisioning of the provisioning logs and other things over there. Okay, so this is the way you can be able to complete it. We will just wait and check how it could be done. The provisioning has been completed. 35 users has been synced. If you see the details, last cycle started time at this, last cycle completed time at this time, cycle duration is 51 second, last time steady state is this, from when it has been in archive state, so you can be able to see that. These are the details. Okay, after 40 minutes it has been started and you can see it is fixed. You cannot be able to change this. So these are the details that you can be able to see. If you want which details are there, which users are there, you can just go back and check the provisioning logs. Under provisioning logs, you can be able to find what are the details, what are the username that is being synced. Just open one, you can be able to see import. This user has been imported. Determine user in scope. It has been determined that user is in scope or not. Then export has been done. What is the recommendation? Troubleshooting, nothing, all looking good. Modified properties, manager has been modified, and show in list address true. Summary, this is the summary. What is the UPN, what is the target identity, action, and all the details has been mentioned over here. Okay, like that you can be able to verify. I will just go back and just search with my name. You can see this is my user. This has been created and then updated. Both are there. Okay, so I will just go back and I will go to the summary and I will just take the target identity. Okay, that has been there. I will just go back to my previous tenant. I will go to users and search with this ID. Nothing I have been found. Now I will search with the mail ID. You can see this is the mail ID which has been created. This is an external tenant. Although this is an external tenant, you can see this. Okay, this is the UPN, this is the object ID. When it was created today only, 19th November 704. Remember, and you can see the identity, the external Azure AD. External Azure AD will always become when it has been federated from our Entra ID tenant only. If it has been from Gmail and Outlook and other tenant, then this has been different. But it is from our Entra ID tenant only, so that's why it is an external Azure AD. Okay, so this is the difference. You can go into the properties and you can be able to check all the details. This is the object ID and other thing. If you go to the audit logs, you can be able to find this user has been created, update profile, invited external user, updated user, then again updated user, then again added users to a group. In this group, it was added application Microsoft Teams services and other applications that we have selected. So there it has been added. Okay, so like that you can be able to troubleshoot if you got any issue. So this is all about external identities or collaboration, not or entire external identity. This is a cross-tenant synchronization that we have checked today. Moving forward, we have multiple other options that are there in external identities that we will go and we will check. This is only the first option, the cross-tenant access settings that we have checked. After that, we have these all options or these all services that are there under external identities. So one by one, we will check and move forward. Hope this video found you helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. If any correction or if any editing or improvement is being needed, please drop us a comment or drop us an email. Okay, till the time, bye bye, take care, good night.